We're well into the practice session now, 55 minutes remaining on the clock, and Jimmy Lindo still hasn't put in a time lap. Sten Wallstrom is out on track now, through turn 4, but he's yet to register a lap time with just over 55 minutes remaining in this session.
Sometimes you just want to get a feel for the car, make sure everything's singing before you push for that time. No point wasting energy on a hot lap if the balance isn't right.
And Lindo is still touring, 54 minutes on the clock. We're waiting for him to unleash some pace.
He's probably running through his setup checks, maybe a longer run to check tire degradation. It's all about gathering data at this stage.
Phil Bodkin is currently navigating the Andretti hairpin, but like a few others, he's yet to put in a timed lap with 54 minutes left.
That hairpin can be tricky, a real test of the car's front end. I used to focus on getting that right before committing to a flying lap. There's no point rushing it.
Niall Gagan is through turn 11 now, 53 minutes left, and still no time on the board from him.
Turn 11, that's a quick one. You really feel the aero load there. Just getting comfortable with the grip limits before you even think about a quick time.
Sten Wallstrom is still out there, ticking off the laps, but no timed effort from him yet with just under 53 minutes remaining.
He might be doing a longer fuel run, just seeing how the car feels with a bit more weight on board. Sometimes you learn more from a consistent run than a single flyer.
Phil Bodkin through turn 11, but the clock ticks down to 52 minutes, and we're still waiting for a timed lap from him.
Turn 11 demands precision, especially if you're trying to gauge tire wear or brake points. Getting that corner right sets you up for a good exit, even if you're not pushing for a lap time yet.
Sten's last lap was a 2:10.686, aiming to shave off some seconds here. Sten Wallstrom is through turn 3, yet to register a lap time with 52 minutes remaining in the session. Jareth Hallam is now in turn 4, and he's another driver yet to put in a timed lap as we approach the 51-minute mark.
Turn 4 is a good place to start feeling the car out. Sometimes you're just looking for that initial bite on turn in, ensuring the car's responding correctly before you commit to a full attack.
Jimmy Lindo has finally put in a lap, a 1:41.090, which puts him straight into second position. Niall Gagan lights up the timing screens with a 1:40.160, jumping into P1. He's currently on the Rahal straight with just under 50 minutes 40 seconds left. Jimmy Lindo, currently P2 with his 141.090, is now making his way through turn 11 as we dip below 50 minutes remaining.
Turn 11 is a great place to refine your line if you're looking for more time. Sometimes I'd focus just on nailing that apex and exit for an entire run, even when I wasn't on a hot lap.
Nigel Walters is now on the Rahal straight, but he's yet to put in a timed lap with 49 minutes and 35 seconds left in practice. Jimmy Lindo, holding P2 with a 141.090, is currently in turn 6 as the session clock shows just over 49 minutes remaining. Sten Wallstrom has finally registered a time, a 149.540, putting him into third position for now. And Lindo improves, a 139.778, that puts him into second position, just a fraction behind Gagan. Jareth Hallam is still without a timed lap. The clock now shows 47 minutes and 27 seconds left in this practice session.
He's clearly taking his time, making sure the car is absolutely dialed in before he puts in that effort. Sometimes a slow build-up pays off better than rushing it.
Sten Wallstrom has found some pace, improving his time to a 143.640, keeping him in third. Daniel Kochish is out on track, but he's yet to put a time on the board, with 46 minutes and 23 seconds left in the session.
He might be doing some aerodynamic testing, or just scrubbing in tires for a later run. There's plenty of time left to get a feel for it.
Phil Bodkin is still searching for his first time lap of the session, just under 46 minutes remaining on the clock.
It's easy to get caught up watching the times, but sometimes you're just focused on a specific setup change. I've spent whole sessions just working on brake bias or suspension feel.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Laguna Seca OSRW as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Niall's last lap was a 2:00.562, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
As the session progresses, Niall Gagan is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Tim Weller is navigating the iconic corkscrew, but he's yet to put a time on the board, 45 minutes and 19 seconds left.
The corkscrew is a massive challenge. You really have to commit on the blind entry. It's exhilarating when you get it right.
Niall Gagan has improved his time, a 1:39.686, extending his lead at the top of the standings.
That's a strong lap. He's found even more pace. It shows confidence in the car and his ability to push those limits.
Phil Bodkin has finally put in a lap, a 1:42.538, putting him into 4th position. He's currently in turn 10.
Good to see Bodkin on the board. Getting that first time down is important, even if it's just a banker. Turn 10 is a good place to start fine-tuning the exit speed.
Sten Wallstrom, currently in 6th with a 1:43.640, is making his way through turn 3 now, 43 minutes and 33 seconds left.
Turn 3 is a corner where you can really feel the car's stability under braking in mid-corner. It's a key spot to test your setup, especially with a long session ahead.
Niall Gagan, currently P2 with his 1:39.686, is now through turn 11 as the clock winds down to 43 minutes. Jareth Hallam has put in a strong 1:40.429, placing him in 3rd. He's currently flying down the Rahal Straight with 42 minutes and 39 seconds to go.
The Rahal Straight is where you really feel the drag and how efficient your aero package is. It's also a prime spot to evaluate engine performance and top speed.
Phil Bodkin improves significantly, a 1:40.215 vaults him up to 3rd position. Jareth Hallam, now in 4th with his 1:40.429, is through turn 3, 41 minutes and 35 seconds remaining.
Keeping the car settled through turn 3 is key. It's a quick corner and you want to carry as much speed as possible out of it without upsetting the balance.
Phil Bodkin is on the Rahal Straight, currently P3 with his 1:40.215, as we count down to 41 minutes and 19 seconds. Jareth Hallam, P4, navigates the tight Andre hairpin, with 40 minutes and 54 seconds still on the clock. Phil Bodkin is holding on to third position with his 140.215, just over 40 minutes remaining in the session. Jareth Hallam, still in P4, is now through Rainy Curve as the clock shows 39 minutes and 50 seconds. Tim Weller has logged a 141.384, putting him into 7th position. Good to see him on the board now.
He'll be looking to build on that. The first timed lap is just about getting a benchmark, now he can really start to push and find the limits.
Nigel Walters has put in his first time, a 141.457, slotting him into P8. He's currently navigating the Andretti hairpin.
The Andretti hairpin is a fantastic place to test the car's braking and low-speed grip. Getting the exit right is crucial there for the run down the straight.
Tim Weller is on the Rahal straight, P7 with his 141.384, with 38 minutes and 14 seconds left in the session. Phil Bodkin is currently on the Rahal straight, still P3 with a 140.215, 37 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. Niall Gagan holding second position with his 139.686, as the session ticks past the 37-minute mark.
He's been consistent out there. Sometimes in practice, it's not just about the fastest lap, but about understanding how the car behaves over multiple laps.
Daniel Kochish has put in a 140.630, placing him in 5th, and he's now on the Rahal straight. Jimmy Lindo has set a best lap time of 138.759 so far. Phil just clocked 140.622, can they improve on this lap? Jimmy Lindo, what a lap. He smashes in a 138.759, rocketing him into first position.
That's an impressive jump. He's really finding the rhythm and pushing the limits of the car. Sometimes a small adjustment can unlock a huge chunk of time.
Phil Bodkin is currently navigating the corkscrew, holding P4 with his 140.215, as we hit the 36-minute mark.
The corkscrew is one of those corners that demands everything from a driver. It's exhilarating to get it right, but a tiny mistake can cost you a lot of time.
Sten Wallstrom has improved his time to a 141.265, moving him up to 8th. He's currently through turn 3. Daniel Kocic, P7 with a 140.630, is now through the corkscrew with 34 minutes and 51 seconds remaining. Tim Weller improves his time to a 140.287, moving him up to 6th position.
That's a good step forward. He's clearly found some pace and is getting more comfortable with the track conditions and the car's setup.
Jareth Hallam makes a move, a 139.396, putting him into 2nd place. He's currently in turn 4.
That's a fantastic lap from Hallam. He's really pushing now. Turn 4 is a fast entry, you need confidence in the front end there.
Jimmy Lindo remains at the top with his stellar 138.759, 33 minutes and 21 seconds left in practice. Joel Lemrick is out on track for the first time, currently in turn 6, still without a timed lap with under 33 minutes left.
He's taking his time. Sometimes you just want to get a few laps under your belt, feel the car's balance before you commit to a hot lap. Turn 6 is a good place to do that.
Nigel Walters improves his time dramatically. A 139.872 puts him into 5th position. He's currently through turn 4. Joel Lemrick is still circulating, yet to set a time, with 31 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. Daniel Kocic has found some serious pace, a 139.580, moving him into 3rd. He's currently navigating turn 11. Phil Bodkin improves his time slightly to a 140.037, keeping him in 6th position.
Every 10th counts, especially in practice. Those small improvements can lead to big gains over a race distance or in qualifying.
Dominic Fovarg is out on track now, through the Andretti hairpin, still without a time lap with just over 30 minutes left. Tim Weller is on the Rahal straight, P8 with his 140.287, and we're under 30 minutes left in this session. Joel Lemrick has set his first time, a 140.585, putting him into 9th. He's currently through Rainy Curve. Daniel Kocic has found even more speed, a 139.262, that's good enough for third position.
He's really building momentum now. Finding those last few tenths is all about confidence and pushing the car right to the edge.
David Constable Barry makes a significant move, a 139.096, rocketing him into second position. He's currently in turn 10 with just under 27.5 minutes left.
Turn 10 is a real test of braking and turn in. To find that kind of pace there, he must have a lot of confidence in the front end of the car, which is crucial for a strong lap.
Tim Weller, now P10 with his 140.287, is through turn 5, 26 minutes and 57 seconds remaining.
Turn 5 is a corner where you want to carry speed, but it's easy to overcook it. Finding that perfect balance is key for lap time.
Neil Constable Barry has set his first time, a 141.894, putting him into 13th position.
It's always good to get a banker lap in. Now he can start pushing and experimenting with different lines and brake points.
Nigel Walters is holding P7 with his 139.872, with 25 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in this practice session.
He's definitely found a good baseline. Now it's about making those small, iterative changes to squeeze out the final tenths.
Niall Gagan, now in P6 with his 139.686, with just over 25 minutes left on the clock.
He's consistent, which is important, but I'm sure he'll be looking to find that extra bit of pace to challenge for the top spots.
Nigel Walters, currently P8 with a 139.872, is on the Rahal straight, 24 minutes and 49 seconds remaining. Tim Weller is through turn 6, holding P10 with his 140.287, 24 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock. Aaron Short has joined the session, but he's yet to put a timed lap on the board, with 24 minutes and 8 seconds remaining. Daniel Kochish remains firmly in third position with his 139.262, as we head into the final 23 minutes and 39 seconds of practice. Nigel Walters, currently P9 with his 139.872, is on the Rahal straight as the clock shows 23 minutes and 7 seconds. Aaron Short is through turn 11, still without a registered lap time with 22 minutes and 35 seconds left. Jimmy Lindo, still leading with his impressive 138.759, is now through turn 10 as the clock ticks down. Nigel Walters is holding P9 with his 139.872, with 21 minutes and 46 seconds still on the clock.
He's consistent, which is a good sign. Sometimes in practice, you're not just chasing the ultimate lap, but a comfortable, repeatable pace.
Joel Lemrick improves his time to a 139.926, putting him into 10th. He's currently on the Rahal straight.
He's chipping away at it. Breaking into the 139S is a solid effort. It shows he's finding grip and confidence in the car.
Tim Weller remains in P11 with his 140.287, 20 minutes and 42 seconds left in practice. Jimmy Lindo, P2 with his 138.759, is now making his way through turn 5, just over 20 minutes remaining.
Turn 5 is a corner where you're really looking for a good exit. If you can carry speed through there, it sets you up well for the next section of the track.
David Constable Barry has just stormed to the top. A 138.425 puts him into P1, and he's now through turn 5. Daniel Kochish has improved his time to a 138.912, moving him up to 3rd position. Aaron Short is through turn 3, still without a time lap, with 18 minutes and 34 seconds left in the session. Joel Lemrick has found a huge chunk of time. A 138.964 puts him into 4th position. He's on the Rahal straight.
Breaking into the 138S is a significant step. He's really dialing in the car and understanding where to extract that extra pace.
Neil Constable Barry has improved his time to a 140.379, holding P13, with 17 minutes and 29 seconds left. Thomas Kruger Dorado posts a 139.211, placing him squarely in 5th position.
He's made a strong entry onto the board. That's a very competitive time right out of the box. He's clearly got a good feel for the track.
Maximilian Turbin is out on track for the first time, through turn 10, yet to set a lap time with 16 minutes and 25 seconds left. Now several laps into the session, Thomas Kruger Dorado looks to refine their line and timing.
Thomas is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, P6 with his 139.211, is now making his way through Rainy Curve, just under 16 minutes remaining.
Rainy Curve is one of those corners where you can really test the stability of the car at high speed. It takes a lot of commitment to get it right, especially on a quick lap.
Tim Weller has improved his time to a 139.371, moving him up to 8th position. James Pinkerton has entered the track, still without a timed lap, 14 minutes and 49 seconds left.
He'll be looking to get a feel for the car and the track. Even just a couple of installation laps can tell you a lot about the conditions.
Nigel Walters improves his time to a 1:39.796, but it still leaves him in 13th. He's through turn 11.
He's making progress, which is what practice is all about. Turn 11 is a fast one, getting that right is key to carrying speed onto the main straight.
David Constable Barry is still leading the session with his impressive 1:38.425, 13 minutes and 45 seconds remaining.
He's laid down a marker there. That kind of pace early on shows he means business. The others will be chasing that time now.
Tim Weller remains in P8 with his 1:39.371, as the session winds down to just over 13 minutes. Nigel Walters P13 with his 1:39.796, with 12 minutes and 41 seconds remaining on the clock. Maximilian Turbin has set his first time, a 1:40.351, putting him into 14th. He's currently in turn 4.
First time on the board, a decent effort. Now he can start to fine-tune and really attack the corners. Turn 4 is a great place to start pushing.
Mac McFarquhar has just put in a scorching 1:38.915, rocketing him into 5th position.
That's a fantastic lap, really close to the top times. He's found a lot of speed very quickly. This is where it gets exciting.
Sten Wallstrom has set a best lap time of 1:41.265 so far.
As the session progresses, Sten Wallstrom is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Sten Wallstrom, currently P18 with his 1:41.265, is through turn 6, with just over 11 minutes remaining.
Turn 6 is all about smoothness. If you can keep the car balanced through there, you'll gain a lot of time on exit. He'll be looking to optimize that.
Tim Weller, holding P10 with his 1:39.371, is now navigating turn 11, with 10 minutes and 33 seconds left.
Turn 11, that's a high-speed corner. You need a lot of confidence in the aero and the tires. He's clearly pushing hard there to maintain that pace.
Neil Constable Barry is on the Rahal straight, P17 with his 1:40.379, as we enter the final 10 minutes of practice. Chris Stokes has posted a 139.627, putting him into 14th position. He's currently on the Rahal Straight. Jimmy Lindo goes even quicker, a 138.234, putting him back on top. He's currently through turn 10. Mac McFarquhar P5 with his 138.915 is making his way through turn 11 now, just over 8 minutes remaining.
Turn 11 demands precision. You have to carry a lot of speed through there, but it's easy to push a little too hard and lose time on the exit. He's clearly found the sweet spot.
Jimmy Lindo, still leading with that blistering 138.234, is now through turn 5, with 7 minutes and 53 seconds left. Sten Wallstrom is holding P18 with his 141.265, as the session enters its final 7 minutes and 21 seconds.
He'll be looking to find some more time here in these closing minutes. Sometimes the track really comes alive towards the end of a session.
Chris Stokes has found a significant improvement, a 139.120, moving him up to 9th position. Nigel Walters improves his time to a 139.512, but remains in 14th position. Maximilian Turbin improves dramatically to a 139.347, pushing him into 11th. He's currently through the Andretti hairpin.
That's a strong improvement from Turbin. The Andretti hairpin is a tight corner, and to gain time there means he's getting the braking and turn in absolutely spot on.
Jimmy Lindo continues to hold the top spot with his 138.234, as we approach the final 5 minutes. Joel Lemrick P8 with his 138.964 is now through turn 3, with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left. Lindo is still untouchable at the top with that 138.234, the clock ticking down to just over 4 minutes.
That's a commanding performance. He's clearly found the sweet spot on this track and knows how to extract every last bit of performance from the car.
Maximilian Turbin improves his time again, a 139.171, solidifying his spot in 11th.
He's consistent in his improvements. That kind of steady progress is what you want to see in practice, building up to that ultimate lap.
Chris Stokes holds P9 with his 139.120, with 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in practice. Thomas Kruger Dorado finds a significant chunk of time, a 138.809, moving him into 4th position. Daniel Kochish, P5 with his 138.912, is now through turn 4, as we approach the final 2.5 minutes.
He'll be looking for one last push here. Sometimes in the dying moments of practice, you can find something extra when the pressure is on.
David Constable Barry improves his time to a 138.316, solidifying his 2nd position. He's currently through Rainy Curve. Chris Stokes leaps up to 4th position with a 138.728. He's currently through turn 5.
He's really found some pace there. Turn 5 is a critical corner. Getting it right means you can carry that speed for the next sector.
Ross Elliott is now navigating the corkscrew, but with just 52 seconds left, he's yet to register a lap time.
He's really leaving it to the last moment. Sometimes you just want to get that final feel for the car, but it's a tight window to put in a flying lap through the corkscrew at the end.
Daniel Kochish, P6 with his 138.912, is now through turn 10, with just 20 seconds remaining on the clock. Jareth Hallam is holding P14 with his 139.396, just 11 seconds remaining on the clock.
This is it, the very last moments. You're just trying to squeeze out anything you can, even if it's just for confidence going into the next session.
Jimmy Lindo, currently P2 with a 138.234, is now through the corkscrew, with just 30 seconds left on the clock. Sten Wallstrom has improved to a 140.590, but he remains in 18th position. He's currently through turn 4 with just over a minute left.
He'll be pushing hard for one final effort. Turn 4 is a corner where you can definitely find some time if you nail the exit, especially on cold tires at the very end of a session.
Daniel Kocic, P7 with his 138.912, as we head into the final minute and a half of practice. Sten Wallstrom, in 18th with a 140.590, is now through the corkscrew, with just 1 minute and 42 seconds left in the session.
The corkscrew is a real make or break section. You need absolute confidence to attack it, especially if you're trying to find time in the last moments of practice. I remember many times pushing that very limit there.
Qualification is moments away here at the iconic Laguna Seca OSRW circuit.
That 3 miles per hour wind speed is going to play a part. I know from experience how much that can unsettle a car through the quick changes of direction.
Daniel Kocic is in the Andretti hairpin, yet to set a lap time with just 4 minutes and 39 seconds left on the clock. Ross Elliott still needs to put a time in, with just 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this session.
You've got to find that balance between pushing hard and not making a critical error on these early laps. I remember those moments well.
Tim Weller is on their out lap.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused, while also pushing the limits.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. Faux Varg is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. Tim Weller is still searching for a representative lap time with 3 minutes and 48 seconds ticking away.
The pressure is building now. You have to balance getting temperature in the tires with not pushing too hard too soon on that first flying lap.
Dominic Fovarg is through turn 6, but still needs to register a lap time with just 3 minutes and 16 seconds to go. Daniel Kocic has less than 3 minutes now, 3 minutes and 7 seconds, and no time on the board. A 1:39.574 puts Daniel Kocic into provisional pole position. That's a strong start with only 91 seconds remaining.
That's a solid lap for their first effort, finding the rhythm quickly. Now it's about whether anyone else can match or beat it.
James Pinkerton is currently P4 with a 1:39.924, and he's finding pace on this current lap, faster by a hundredth of a second with 1 minute 14 seconds remaining.
That's what you want to see, a driver finding those tiny margins in the dying moments of qualifying. That small delta could be the difference between grid slots. I know that feeling of chasing it.
Jimmy Lindo is flying, already P1 with a 1:38.648, and he's currently 0.2 faster on this lap with only 51 seconds left. What an effort from Mac McFarquhar, P18 with a 1:56.193, but he's a massive 8.5 seconds faster on this lap with only 23 seconds left.
That is an incredible recovery of time. To find that much pace in the final moments of a session, you have to be absolutely pushing the limits, taking every risk.
Lord Farquaad has completed their outlap. Mac McFarquhar vaults up to P10 with that 1:40.736, a huge improvement with just 28 seconds left.
That's an impressive jump, finding significant time in the last gasp of the session. That kind of pressure can make or break a lap.
Aaron Short is on an unbelievable lap, already P17, but he's almost 12 seconds faster than his best, with only 34 seconds left. Niall Gagan is P6 with a 1:39.555, and he's just shading his best time on this current lap with 59 seconds left to run. Sten Wallstrom is currently 17th with a 1:42.064, but he's half a second quicker on his current lap with just over a minute left.
Every tenth counts, especially in the midfield battles. Finding that half a second could mean several grid spots. It's all about extracting maximum performance when it truly matters.
James Pinkerton threw the corkscrew, P11, and he's finding 0.2 on this lap with 1 minute 27 seconds still on the clock.
The corkscrew is a massive commitment. You have to attack it to gain time, and finding 0.2 there shows real confidence.
Welcome race fans, the tension is palpable here at the iconic Laguna Seca OSRW circuit as the lights are about to go out.
That 12 miles per hour wind could be a factor in the opening corners, especially at the top of the hill. It will certainly test the stability of these cars.
Jimmy Lindo, an M-Class driver from Not Known, lines up in the Mazda MX5 Cup car from a very strong second position on the grid. And starting just behind Lindo, in third position, is Thomas Kruger Dorado, representing the United Kingdom.
A Pro-Am driver like Dorado, starting so high up, shows he's got real pace. He'll be looking to make an early statement.
Aaron Short, also a Pro-Am driver, starts from 5th position on the grid today in his Mazda.
5th is a good place to be, Sky, close enough to see the action unfold ahead but with enough clear air to pick your moments in the first few corners.
From Ireland, Niall Gagan, an M-Class driver, will be starting his Mazda MX5 Cup machine from 6th on the grid. Daniel Kosic of Hungary, another M-Class driver, finds himself in 7th place as the grid prepares for the start. And Joel Lemerick, representing the Netherlands, will be starting from 8th position in his Mazda today. Tim Weller from the United Kingdom, an M-Class driver, is set to start from 9th position in his Mazda MX5 Cup car.
Starting 9th can be tricky. You're right in the middle of the pack for that turn 1 squeeze. Smoothness will be key there.
And completing our top 10 starters is Nigel Walters, another United Kingdom driver in the AM class, in his Mazda MX5 Cup car. Just outside the top 10, in 11th position, is James Pinkerton from the United Kingdom, a Pro-Am class driver.
11th can be a tough spot. You're looking for clean air but also have to be very aware of the drivers around you. Patience early on will pay off.
Dominic Faux-Varg, another Pro-Am driver from the United Kingdom, will start his Mazda from the 12th grid slot.
12th is a spot where you can often find good battles, Sky. You're constantly looking for opportunities to move up, but you have to be disciplined and pick your moves carefully.
Further back on the grid, in 14th position, we have Phil Bodkin from England, an M-Class driver in the Mazda MX5 Cup. And starting from 15th, Neil Constable Barry from the United Kingdom, an M-Class driver in his Mazda.
From 15th, the main goal in the opening lap is often to stay out of trouble and make sure you're in a position to capitalize on any early mistakes by others.
Sten Wallstrom, an M-Class driver, lines up in his Mazda from 16th position on the grid. Ross Elliott, another M-Class driver from the United Kingdom, starts from 17th in his Mazda MX5 Cup car.
Even from 17th, there's always a chance to make up places, especially if the pack gets bunched up in those first few corners. It's all about opportunism.
And the lights are out. We are green at Laguna Seca OSRW. Thomas Kruger Dorado, who started from 3rd, has made a superb start and is already up into 2nd position.
That's an excellent move by Dorado on the opening lap. Picking up a place early is crucial for building momentum and getting clean air.
A slight drop for Dominic Faux-Varg, who's fallen back 1 place to 13th on this opening lap.
It's easy to lose a spot in the chaos of turn 1. The key now is to settle in and find a rhythm to start gaining those positions back.
Jareth Hallam, starting from 18th, has unfortunately dropped 1 position to 19th in these opening moments. And Jareth Hallam continues to struggle slightly, now in 19th after starting 18th. Huge drama on track. Aaron Short, who started 5th, has had a massive drop and is now all the way down in 18th position.
That's a disaster for Short. Something must have gone very wrong there, potentially an issue at turn 2 or an avoided incident. He's got a lot of work to do.
Aaron Short remains in 18th, but Jareth Hallam has gained places and is now ahead in 16th, with only 0.2 of a second separating them. Incredible, Aaron Short has fought back hard, now up to 15th position and has passed Jareth Hallam, who is right on his tail, a mere 0.0 seconds separating them.
That's a fantastic recovery drive from Short already, from 18th to 15th, and now he's holding off Hallam in what looks like a classic wheel-to-wheel battle.
Now focusing on Nigel Walters in 8th position on lap 1, he posted a 1:52.804 last time around, but Dominic Fauvargue is right on his bumper, just a tenth of a second back.
That's a solid opening lap time for Walters, but with Fauvargue that close, he'll be feeling immense pressure in every braking zone and corner exit. It's a real test of nerve.
Nigel Walters has gained a position, now up to 7th, and he's pulled out a 4/10 gap to Dominic Fauvargue, who's fallen back to 9th.
That's some great driving from Walters to not only gain a position but also create some breathing room from Fauvargue. He's found some real pace there to pull away like that.
Now with James Pinkerton in 8th, posting a 1:52.951 on his last lap, with Dominic Fauvargue just 2/10 behind in 9th.
Pinkerton is doing well to hold that position, Sky. That small gap to Fauvargue means he'll have to be absolutely precise in every corner, especially with the pressure building.
Jimmy Lindo, currently in 6th on lap 2, recorded a 1:43.831 last time out, and is now chasing Tim Weller in 5th, with a 0.6 second gap to close. A tough break for Jimmy Lindo, he's dropped back to 7th position and the gap to Tim Weller in 5th has stretched out to a significant 3.3 seconds. Lindo has regained 6th position. He's clawed back some time on Weller, the gap now down to 2.9 seconds in front.
That's an impressive response from Lindo. He hasn't let that drop phase him and is now working hard to close that gap. The confidence to push after losing a spot is key.
Dominic Fauvargue is in 9th, just a 10th behind James Pinkerton in 8th, and has just set his best lap time of 1:42.183 on lap 2.
Setting a personal best while battling this close with Pinkerton shows real commitment. He's clearly found some pace and will be looking to put that pressure to good use.
Dominic Fauvargue remains in 9th position, maintaining that incredibly tight gap of just a tenth of a second to James Pinkerton in 8th.
That constant pressure is intense. Pinkerton is holding his line well, but Fauvargue isn't letting up, just waiting for the smallest opportunity to present itself.
James Pinkerton is now in 9th position, currently in turn 10, with Thomas Kruger Dorado just 2/10 behind in 10th, after Pinkerton set his best lap of 1:42.304. Jimmy Lindo is running in 7th, just 0.2 seconds shy of Nigel Walters in 6th, as they complete lap 2. Jimmy Lindo holds 7th, but the gap to Nigel Walters in 6th has just edged out to 0.3 of a second. Jimmy Lindo has made the move. He's up into 6th position, passing Nigel Walters, who is now right behind him with no gap at all.
That's an excellent pass under pressure, Sky. Lindo clearly picked his moment perfectly and now has to defend hard because Walters will be looking for an immediate response.
Now watching Nigel Walters in turn 5 on lap 3, he's in 8th and chasing Dominic Fauvargue in 7th, with just 0.2 seconds between them after Walters set his best lap of 1:40.465.
That 1:40.465 is a very strong lap time, especially with Fauvargue just ahead. He's really pushing, and it tells me he's looking to reclaim that position quickly. This battle will be intense.
Aaron Short, currently in 11th through the rainy curve, is just 2/10 behind Thomas Kruger Dorado in 10th, after a 1:40.604 last lap, with his best lap at 1:40.172. Aaron Short remains in 11th, still right on the tail of Thomas Kruger Dorado in 10th, with that gap holding at 0.2 seconds. What a race we've had unfolding so far. The action has been non-stop from the moment the lights went out.
It's been fascinating to watch, especially the way some drivers have recovered from early setbacks, like Short's incredible climb back up the order. That takes real focus.
Indeed, his recovery has been a standout, but we're seeing so many tight battles across the field, just tenths of a second separating these cars.
Those small gaps mean there's absolutely no room for error. Every corner entry, every apex, every exit has to be perfect, or you'll lose a spot, sometimes two. I remember races here where a single blink would cost you dearly.
The consistency from some of these drivers, lap after lap, under such pressure is truly commendable.
It's what separates the good from the great. Maintaining that rhythm and pace when someone is right on your bumper, or when you're chasing them, is a mental and physical challenge. It's a testament to their dedication.
And with just minutes remaining, plus that extra lap, the intensity is only going to ramp up even further.
Absolutely, this is where decisions get made in split seconds, and the drivers who can stay cool under fire will be the ones pushing for those final positions.
Every position gained or lost now will feel massive as we head towards the checkered flag.
It certainly will. They'll be driving on the very edge, pushing the car and themselves to their absolute limits now. It's exhilarating to watch.
Laguna Seca always delivers drama, and today is no exception.
Never a dull moment here. The track demands respect and punishes any lapse in concentration, especially towards the end of a race.
Aaron Short is now up to 10th position on lap 4, just 3 tenths separating him from Nigel Walters in 9th, and he's just posted his best lap of the race with a 140.074.
That's a very strong lap from Short, especially given his earlier struggles. He's certainly found his rhythm now and is really pushing to make up more ground. He's a man on a mission.
Aaron Short continues his incredible charge, now up to 9th position, passing Nigel Walters, who is right on his bumper just a tenth behind. Nigel Walters is now in 10th on lap 5, chasing Aaron Short in 9th, with a 2/10 gap after a 142.606 last lap. Jimmy Lindo, currently in turn 5, is holding 6th position on lap 5, pulling out a 1.2 second lead over Dominic Fauvargue in 7th, and Lindo just set his best lap of the race with a blistering 138.514. A dramatic change for Jimmy Lindo. He's dropped 2 places, now down to 8th, and Dominic Fauvargue has moved up to 6th, 2.8 seconds ahead.
That's a huge shift in positions in such a short amount of time. Something must have gone wrong for Lindo, perhaps a slide or a defensive error, allowing 2 cars past.
Ross Elliott is in 17th on lap 5, just 3 tenths behind Joel Lemrick in 16th, after a 141.654 last lap.
Elliott's best lap of 140.347 shows he has the pace to challenge Lemrick. He'll be looking to close that small gap and make a move very soon.
Ross Elliott remains in 17th, but the gap to Joel Lemrick in 16th has now grown to 9 tenths of a second. Thomas Kruger Dorado is currently in 14th on lap 6, half a second behind Neil Constable Barry in 13th, having just set his best lap with a 139.813. Thomas Kruger Dorado continues in 14th, but he's closed the gap to Neil Constable Barry in 13th to just 3 tenths. Tim Weller is running strong in 5th on lap 6, just 3 tenths behind Niall Gagan in 4th, after a 140.045 last lap.
Weller's best lap of 139.318 earlier in the race shows he has the speed. He'll be feeling confident he can close that small gap and challenge for 4th.
Tim Weller has made the pass. He's up into 4th position, leaving Niall Gagan just 2 tenths behind him in 5th.
That's an excellent move by Weller. He picked his moment perfectly and now has to defend that position from Gagan, who will be desperate to get it back.
Neil Constable Barry is currently navigating the corkscrew on lap 6, in 13th position, with a 0.6 second gap to Thomas Kruger Dorado in 12th, after a 140.946 last lap. Aaron Short has dropped back to 14th on lap 6, now 0.4 seconds behind Neil Constable Barry in 13th, but he's just set his best lap of the race with an impressive 139.113. More problems for Aaron Short. He's dropped another place to 15th, and the gap to Neil Constable-Berry in 13th has now opened up to 1.8 seconds.
That's a frustrating situation for Short. To have such good pace with that best lap, then immediately lose positions, suggests he's either struggling with consistency or perhaps had another moment on track.
Niall Gagan is currently in 5th on lap 7, just 3/10 behind Tim Weller in 4th, after a 139.930 last lap. Niall Gagan remains in 5th, but the gap to Tim Weller in 4th has opened slightly to 0.4 of a second.
Every 10th counts, and Weller is doing well to edge away. Gagan needs to find that extra bit of pace if he wants to challenge again for that 4th spot.
Maximilian Turbin is in 15th through the corkscrew on lap 7, 0.8 behind Aaron Short in 14th, and he's just set his best lap of the race with a 139.082.
That's a very impressive best lap from Turbin, Sky. He's really pushing hard and closing in on Short. The corkscrew is a great place to gain time if you get it right, and he certainly did.
Niall Gagan is now just 0.2 behind Tim Weller in 4th position on lap 8, after a 139.539 last lap.
He's clearly not giving up on that 4th place. That's a great lap time, and he's right back on Weller's gearbox, looking for an opportunity.
Neil Constable-Berry holds 13th on lap 8, with a half-second advantage over Aaron Short in 14th, after a 140.769 last lap. Neil Constable-Berry continues in 13th, but Aaron Short has closed the gap significantly, now just 0.2 behind in 14th. James Pinkerton holds 9th position on lap 8, just a 10th ahead of Nigel Walters in 10th, and he's just set his best lap of the race with a 138.996.
What a time to pull out a personal best. Pinkerton is pushing hard under immense pressure from Walters. That's how you defend a position, by maintaining relentless pace.
David Constable-Berry leads the race and is just 20 seconds from the checkered flag, but Daniel Kosic is right on his gearbox, only 0.4 behind. Unbelievable, Daniel Kosic has taken the lead on lap 8. He's just passed David Constable-Berry, who is now right alongside him, separated by absolutely 0 seconds.
What a move. Kosic didn't just take the lead, he also set his best lap of the race with a 138.796. This is exactly how you want to finish a race, fighting tooth and nail for the top spot.
It's all over. David has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now. David Constable-Berry crosses the finish line, an absolutely stunning late move to reclaim the lead and win the race, after starting from 4th position.
What an incredible fighting spirit from Constable-Berry. To be passed so late and then immediately strike back for the win, that's the mark of a true competitor. He absolutely earned that victory.
And Daniel Kosic takes 2nd place, a truly phenomenal effort after starting all the way back in 7th on the grid.
Kosic put on an amazing show, especially taking the lead just moments ago. To climb from 7th to 2nd is a fantastic result. He drove his heart out and can be very proud of that performance.
What a race from Baldilocks. They kept their cool and secured a well-earned 3rd place on the podium.
Great job bringing it home.
Chris Stokes crosses the line in 3rd position, a solid podium finish after starting from pole position today. And the checkered flag continues to fall for the rest of the field, with Tim Weller securing 4th, Niall Gagan in 5th, Dominic Fauvargue in 6th, and Jimmy Lindo taking 7th.
Those are excellent finishes for those drivers, particularly given the battles we saw throughout the race. Every one of them earned those positions in a hard-fought contest.
Further down the order, Mac McFarquhar finishes 8th, Nigel Walters 9th, Jareth Hallam crosses the line in 10th, and Thomas Kruger Dorado takes 11th. And completing the finishers, we have Neil Constable Barry in 12th, Aaron Short in 13th, Maximilian Turbin in 14th, and Ross Elliott takes 15th. Rounding out our race today, Phil Bodkin finishes 16th, Sten Wallstrom is 17th, and Joel Lemrick crosses the line in 18th. We are just moments away from the green flag here at Laguna Seca OSRW, with a slight breeze of 4 pushing across the circuit. On pole position, it's Joel Lemrick from the Netherlands, piloting his Mazda, an M-Class driver starting from the very front. Lining up alongside Lemrick in P2, we have Sten Wallstrom in the Mazda MX5 Cup car, also an M-Class competitor. Starting from third, it's Phil Bodkin from England, another M-Class driver in the Mazda MX5 Cup machine. Ross Elliott from the United Kingdom rounds out the second row, P4, in his Mazda MX5 Cup, also an M-Class entry. Maximilian Turbin from England, a Pro-Am driver, starts from 5th in his Mazda.
It's always interesting to see how the Pro-Ams mix with the Am drivers early on. They can often make a move through the field quickly.
Aaron Short, another Pro-Am driver, is in 6th place in his Mazda MX5 Cup car.
6th is a solid starting spot for a Pro-Am. You can really gauge the front runners from there without being in the thick of the absolute chaos.
Neil Constable Barry from the United Kingdom, an M-Class driver, starts from 7th in his Mazda.
7th is tricky. You're in that mid-pack area where things can get very busy into turn 1. You need to be decisive.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, also from the United Kingdom, is in P8, a Pro-Am driver in his Mazda.
Another Pro-Am in the mix. If they can get a good run through the first few corners, we could see some real progression from this group.
Nigel Walters, an M-Class driver from the United Kingdom, lines up in 10th position in his Mazda.
10th is a bit further back than you'd like, but Laguna Seca offers opportunities if you're patient and hit your marks.
From 12th, we have Jimmy Lindo, an M-Class driver in his Mazda.
From P12, you're really looking to stay out of trouble early and then pick your way through. The first lap is crucial for drivers starting here.
Dominic Faux-Varg, a Pro-Am driver in his Mazda MX5 Cup, also starts from P12. Niall Gagan from Ireland, an M-Class driver, starts right behind them in 13th in his Mazda MX5 Cup. Tim Weller, another M-Class driver from the United Kingdom, lines up in 14th in his Mazda. Chris Stokes from England, a Pro-Am driver in his Mazda MX5 Cup, is in 15th place.
15th is a deep starting position. You've got to really hustle to make up ground from there, but a good strategy could see them climb.
Daniel Kosic from Hungary, an M-Class driver, is in 16th position in his Mazda. We missed Jareth Hallam, also from the United Kingdom, a Pro-Am driver in his Mazda, starting from 9th. David Constable Barry from England, a Pro-Am driver in his Mazda MX5 Cup, is in P17.
17th is tough, but I've certainly started further back and made progress. You just have to be smart and avoid contact in that opening lap.
James Pinkerton, another Pro-Am driver from the United Kingdom, lines up in 18th in his Mazda.
Pinkerton will have his work cut out for him, but a Pro-Am in this position could surprise us with a charge.
Mac McFarquhar from the United Kingdom, a Pro-Class driver, is in 11th place in his Mazda. And the lights are out. We are green at Laguna Seca OSRW. A fantastic start by Lemrick holding the lead into turn 1.
This is where races can be won or lost on the opening lap. Everyone's fighting for that early advantage, but you have to be careful not to overdrive it.
Joel Lemrick, after a superb start, holds on to that lead, still P1 on this opening lap.
Maintaining the lead into turn 1 is crucial. It gives you track position and lets you control the pace, but the pressure is on right away.
Ross Elliott, who started P4, has dropped back slightly to 6th position on this first lap. Elliott, unfortunately, has lost 2 places from his starting grid slot, now running in P6. David Constable Barry is on a charge early, up 6 positions from 18th to 12th.
That's an incredible gain on the first lap. You really have to be decisive and find the gaps, but crucially stay out of trouble to make moves like that from so far back.
Chris Stokes, another strong opener, up 5 places from 16th to 11th. Chris Stokes holds P11, just 0.3 seconds behind Daniel Kocic in 10th, a real battle shaping up for that spot. Chris Stokes has gained another place, now into 10th, but Daniel Kocic is still just ahead, in 9th, with only 0.3 seconds between them.
They're really pushing each other. That kind of pressure can make or break a driver's lap, but it also creates opportunities if one makes a small mistake.
Aaron Short has climbed to second position, right on the tail of Phil Bodkin for the lead, the gap just 0.2 seconds on this opening lap. Aaron Short continues to hound Phil Bodkin, still in P2 and maintaining that 0.2 second gap to the leader. Niall Gagan is running in 12th, just 0.1 seconds behind Sten Wallstrom in P11, a very tight battle there. The gap has slightly opened to 0.2 seconds between Niall Gagan in 12th and Sten Wallstrom in 11th.
Even a tenth of a second can feel like a lifetime when you're trying to make a pass. Gagan will be pushing hard to close that back down.
Niall Gagan has made the move, now into P11, having passed Sten Wallstrom, who is now just 0.1 seconds behind in 12th.
That's how quickly things can change. Gagan saw an opening and took it. Now they just need to defend that position.
Nigel Walters is in 16th, through turn 11, right on the bumper of Mac McFarquhar in P15, just a tenth of a second separating them.
Turn 11, the final corner, is a crucial passing spot into the main straight. If Walters can get a good exit here, they might set themselves up for a move.
Nigel Walters remains in 16th, but the gap to Mac McFarquhar, now in P14, has stretched out to a full second.
That's a significant amount of time to lose or gain on a short run. It suggests McFarquhar either put in a phenomenal segment or Walters struggled for grip in that section.
Thomas Kruger Dorado has moved up to third position on lap 2, with Phil Bodkin right on their tail, only 0.1 seconds back.
Dorado is clearly finding some pace. That 139.154 is a strong lap time. Holding off Bodkin will be the challenge now, especially with such a narrow gap.
Sten Wallstrom is in 14th, with Dominic Fauvard 0.3 seconds behind in P15 on lap 2. Sten Wallstrom has pulled away from Dominic Fauvard, the gap now a substantial 2.0 seconds, Fauvard having dropped to P16. Thomas Kruger Dorado has slipped back to 5th, now chasing Jareth Hallam in 4th, the gap 0.2 seconds.
It's a really tight pack in the top 5. Dorado will need to regain that momentum to challenge for a podium position.
Thomas Kruger Dorado has fought back, now P4, just 0.1 seconds ahead of Jareth Hallam in 5th. Dorado has again dropped to P5, with Jareth Hallam now holding P4 with a 0.8 second lead. Mac McFarquhar is in P13, through the Andretti hairpin, just 0.2 seconds behind James Pinkerton in 12th. The gap has tightened even further between McFarquhar and Pinkerton, now just a tenth of a second for P12. David Constable Barry is now in 10th, closing quickly on Chris Stokes in 9th, with just 0.2 seconds separating them on lap 3. The gap between David Constable Barry and Chris Stokes has opened to 0.6 seconds, Stokes pulling away slightly in 9th. Chris Stokes is in 9th, pushing to catch Daniel Kosich in 8th, the gap 0.3 seconds on lap 3. Chris Stokes continues to hold 9th, still 0.3 seconds behind Daniel Kosich in 8th. Jimmy Lindo is running in 17th on lap 4, 0.3 seconds behind Dominic Fauvargue in 16th.
Lindo needs to find some consistent pace here to close that gap. Laguna Seca can be a rhythm track, and if you lose it, it's hard to get back.
Lindo is still in P17, with Fauvargue holding P16, the gap remaining 0.3 seconds. Thomas Kruger Dorado is in 5th, through turn 6, just 0.2 seconds behind Jareth Hallam in 4th on lap 4.
Turn 6, the hairpin, is a tricky braking zone. If Dorado can get a good run out of there, they might be able to challenge Hallam down the straight.
The gap between Dorado in 5th and Hallam in 4th has opened to 0.4 seconds.
It looks like Hallam has found a bit more pace through that section. Dorado needs to respond quickly or that gap will only continue to grow.
Chris Stokes has moved up to 8th, now pressing Daniel Kosich hard for 7th, with only 0.2 seconds between them.
This is where precision really pays off. If Stokes can stay glued to Kosich, they might force a mistake or create an overtaking opportunity in the coming turns.
Dominic Fauvargue is in 14th on lap 5, just a tenth of a second behind Nigel Walters in 13th. Fauvargue has made the move, now P13, with Walters just 0.1 seconds behind in P14. Daniel Kosich is in 7th through turn 5, only 0.1 seconds behind Neil Constable Barry in 6th on lap 5. Niall Gagan has opened up a significant gap to James Pinkerton, now in 10th with an 1.1 second advantage over P11.
That's a testament to Gagan's pace this lap. When you can stretch a lead like that, it takes a lot of pressure off and allows you to focus on clean driving.
A huge change for Niall Gagan, who has dropped dramatically to 16th position. James Pinkerton is now way ahead in 9th, with a massive 6.7 second lead.
That's a major turn of events. Gagan must have had a moment, perhaps a spin or an off-track excursion to lose that much ground in so many places. Pinkerton, on the other hand, has made incredible progress.
Chris Stokes has climbed to 7th, just 0.1 seconds behind Phil Bodkin for 6th position on lap 5. Chris Stokes has made the pass, now into 6th, with Phil Bodkin right on their bumper, a dead heat, 0.0 seconds.
That's an amazing piece of driving, a perfectly executed overtake. But it's not over, Bodkin will be looking to retaliate immediately.
Phil Bodkin is holding 7th on lap 6, now 0.3 seconds behind Chris Stokes in 6th. The gap has opened to 0.8 seconds between Phil Bodkin in 7th and Chris Stokes in 6th. Drama for Joel Lemerick. They've dropped all the way back to 17th, right on Ross Elliott's tail, 0.0 seconds.
From leading the race to P17, that is a monumental fall through the field. I'm wondering what could have happened there, a spin, contact, or a huge mistake, because their pace was fantastic early on.
A massive gap has opened up. Joel Lemerick is still in 17th, but Ross Elliott in P16 is now 8.9 seconds ahead.
This isn't just a lost position, this is a significant incident or mechanical issue. You don't lose that much time in one segment without a major problem. That's heartbreaking to see after such a strong start.
Niall Gagan is in 15th on lap 6, trying to close the 0.3 second gap to Tim Weller in 14th. David Constable Barry is now in 13th, 0.2 seconds behind Nigel Walters in 12th on lap 6. David Constable Barry has made the move into 12th, a phenomenal pass with Nigel Walters now just 0.0 seconds behind in 13th.
That's nose-to-tail racing. To make a pass and hold it with zero gap means they had to be absolutely perfect. Now the hard part is trying to break free, or Walters will be looking to get straight back.
Walters has immediately responded, reclaiming 12th, with David Constable Barry now 0.2 seconds back in 13th. Tim Weller is in 15th through turn 4, 0.2 seconds behind Niall Gagan in 14th on lap 7. Tim Weller continues to press Niall Gagan, the gap holding at 0.2 seconds for P14. What a race we've had so far, the lead changing hands, and some incredible battles throughout the field.
It really goes to show how quickly things can turn. I've had races where you're leading comfortably one moment, and then a small mistake or a technical glitch can put you right at the back.
We saw that dramatically with Joel Lemrick, going from P1 to P17 in a blink of an eye. You just wonder what happened there.
It's often a snap decision, a missed braking point, or perhaps getting caught out by someone else's move. Recovering from that takes immense mental strength.
And then you have those tight battles, like we saw with Constable Barry and Walters, exchanging positions constantly.
Those are the most demanding. Every corner, every straight, you're calculating, defending, attacking. It's exhilarating but incredibly draining.
Thomas Kruger Dorado is back on the charge in 4th, only 0.4 seconds behind Jareth Hallam for that final podium spot on lap 8, with a blistering 138.826 last lap.
That's a very quick lap from Dorado, they're clearly pushing hard. Closing a 0.4 second gap requires absolute focus, but it's definitely achievable at Laguna Seca.
Dorado has eaten into that gap, now just 0.1 seconds behind Jareth Hallam for 3rd. Mac McFarquhar is in 7th on lap 8, closing in on Chris Stokes in 6th, just 0.3 seconds separate them. Aaron Short is dominating, heading towards the checkered flag with a commanding 3-second lead over Maximilian Turbin, just 20 seconds remaining. Aaron Short crosses the line, a magnificent drive from starting P6 to take the checkered flag and win the race. Maximilian Turbin comes across the line in 2nd place, a strong finish after starting P5.
Starting 5th and moving up to 2nd, that's a brilliant result. It shows great consistency and pace throughout the race.
Jareth Hallam takes the final podium spot, finishing 3rd after starting all the way back in 9th. Thomas Kruger Dorado finishes in 4th, Daniel Košić takes 5th, Chris Stokes in 6th, and Mac McFarquhar crosses in 7th.
Those are excellent finishes, especially for Košić and Stokes making up so many positions from their grid spots. Holding it together for the full race is what it's all about.
James Pinkerton finishes in 8th, Dominic Fovard takes 9th, David Constable Barry in 10th, and Phil Botkin completes his race in 11th.
Pinkerton and Fovard both made good ground from where they started. It's a testament to staying focused and executing clean laps right to the end.
Nigel Walters, Niall Gagan, Tim Weller, and Neil Constable Barry cross the line in 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Ross Elliott finishes 16th, Sten Wallstrom is 17th, and Jimmy Lindo completes the race in 18th.
Every finish is an achievement, especially in a race as competitive as this one. They all battled hard to see the checkered flag.
Practice session continues, and we're looking at Nigel Walters, who has yet to set a lap time, with just over 8 minutes remaining.
Pinkerton is still in the garage. I imagine they're fine-tuning the setup. You don't want to rush out and waste tires if the car isn't quite right, even in practice.
Jareth Hallam is another driver yet to put a time on the board, ticking down to just over 7 minutes in this session.
Lemrick still hasn't ventured out. Sometimes you're waiting for track conditions to improve, or perhaps a last-minute change. There's a strategy even to when you set your first practice lap.
Walters is still in the pits. The clock keeps moving, now under 6.5 minutes. James Pinkerton remains without a lap time as we drop under 5 minutes, 45 seconds now.
This late in practice, not having a time suggests they're really chasing something specific with the setup. It's a risk, but sometimes it pays off if they hit on something special.
Lemrick still hasn't posted a time. We're just over 5 minutes away from the end of this session.
It's cutting it fine. You need at least one representative lap to know where you stand, especially if conditions are changing. I've been in that position, scrambling for a good lap at the very end.
Nigel Walters still hasn't made an appearance on the timing screens, just 4.5 minutes left. And there it is. Lemrick finally gets a lap on the board, a 1:39.942, slotting him into P4 as he powers down the Rahal straight with just over 4 minutes remaining. Neil Constable Barry is out on track now in turn 5, but still no registered lap time for him as we tick down to 3.5 minutes.
He's really leaving it late. Sometimes you need that final push just to get a feel for the car before qualifying. It's tough to go out cold and deliver instantly when the pressure is on.
Sten Wallstrom has just improved his time, a 1:39.503, which moves him up to P4 with just over 3 minutes left in practice. Another driver yet to log a time, David Constable Barry, with just 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Neil Constable Barry is still out there in turn 5, but the clock is really running down now, under 2 minutes, and he still hasn't set a time. David Constable Barry still without a recorded lap time as we approach the final minute and a half of practice.
This is incredibly late. You'd be pushing to get even one flying lap in now. It really makes you wonder what the team's strategy is, or if they've had an issue.
And there it is for Walters. A 1:38.649, that's good enough for P2, making his presence felt in turn 3 with less than a minute remaining.
That's a strong lap considering how late he put it in. He must have been confident in the car or had a plan to hold back. It's always satisfying when you nail it like that under pressure.
Chris Stokes is another driver yet to set a time, and we're down to just 36 seconds in this practice session. "20 seconds left and Chris Stokes still hasn't posted a lap time. He's really out of time now. Welcome back to Laguna Seca OSRW, where the wind is already making its presence known at 7 miles per hour as qualifying is about to get underway. And with just 4 minutes and 26 seconds remaining in qualifying, James Pinkerton still needs to put a time on the board. Now with under 4 minutes to go, Dominic Fovarg is another driver yet to set a qualifying lap time. Thomas Kruger Dorado is still without a time, currently navigating the challenging rainy curve with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. Just 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in qualifying, and Chris Stokes still hasn't registered a lap time.
That's cutting it fine. You really want to get at least one banker lap in early, otherwise, any small mistake now and you've got nothing to show for it.
Chris Stokes puts in a flyer, a 1:38.118. That's his first time lap, and it immediately puts him into provisional pole with 92 seconds left.
That's a strong first lap under pressure. Sometimes you only get one shot, and if you can nail it like that, it shows real composure.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, currently P4, is absolutely on the knife edge of his best lap time with just 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. Tim Weller is in the corkscrew right now, but he still hasn't registered a lap time with only 1 minute and 5 seconds left.
This is where the pressure really builds. Going through the corkscrew blind, without a time, you're on the absolute limit to get that qualifying lap in.
Tim Weller finally gets a time on the board, a 1:54.901, slotting him into P15 with just 28 seconds left.
It's on the board, but that's a lot of time to find now. When you're scrabbling for a lap at the very end like that, it's hard to find a rhythm.
Chris Stokes, still P1, is digging even deeper. He's already 0.15 seconds up on his best time with only 12 seconds remaining. Aaron Short is in turn 11, but he hasn't set a lap time, and there's only 1 second left in qualifying.
He's definitely not going to make it. That's a brutal way to end qualifying. No time on the board means starting from the very back.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, sitting in P10, is absolutely flying. He's nearly half a second up on his best time with just 15 seconds left on the clock.
This is it, a final desperate attempt to jump up the order. He's really pushing the limits to extract every last tenth on this final lap.
Dominic Fovard, currently P10, is on a charge. He's over 3/10 up on his personal best with just 33 seconds left.
That's a huge delta to find at this stage. He's got to bring it home clean now. One mistake and that effort is gone.
Nigel Walters, currently P12, is finding some serious pace. He's almost 3/10 quicker than his best lap with 48 seconds left.
This is exactly what we want to see, drivers digging deep on their final attempts. It shows real determination to improve their starting grid position.
Jareth Hallam, P5, is pushing hard, but he's just a whisker off his best lap time with 1 minute and 4 seconds left.
Every hundredth counts now. You're balancing absolute aggression with not overdriving the car and ruining the lap.
Tim Weller, sitting P14, is currently 0.8 seconds down on his personal best with 1 minute and 18 seconds left. He's really struggling to find that pace. Aaron Short, who still holds P1 with that blistering 1:37.984, is currently 25.5 seconds down on his personal best through turn 6.
That's an enormous loss of time. You're effectively on an abortive lap there. Something has gone significantly wrong, or he's just cruising back to the pits.
Welcome back to Laguna Seca OSRW. The grid is set and we are just moments away from the start of what promises to be an exhilarating race.
That 11-knot wind will certainly make things interesting through the fast corners. You'll feel every gust in the car from turn 1.
David Constable Barry, representing England, lines up in second place today in his Mazda, a strong showing for the Pro-Am contender.
Third on the grid is Chris Stokes, another Pro-Am driver from England in the Mazda MX5 Cup. That car is a joy to drive here, very balanced.
And Mac McFarquhar, the Pro-Class driver from the UK, starts just behind them in 4th position, also in a Mazda.
He's a Pro-Class driver, so expect him to be aggressive from the start. Getting a jump on those Pro-Ams will be key for him early on.
Gareth Hallam, another Pro-Am racer from the UK, rounds out the top 5, also piloting a Mazda.
He's got a good view of the front row from there. If he can stay clean through the first few corners, he's in a great position to move up.
Daniel Kosic, the AM-Class driver from Hungary, is in 7th, looking to make his mark in the Mazda MX5 Cup. James Pinkerton, another Pro-Am driver from the United Kingdom, starts 8th in his Mazda MX5 Cup.
8th is a tricky spot for the start. He'll need to be mindful of traffic but also aggressive enough to avoid losing positions into turn 1.
And Dominic Faux-Varg, also from the United Kingdom, lines up in 9th, another Pro-Am driver in the MX5 Cup. Thomas Kruger Dorado, Pro-Am, UK, starts 10th in his Mazda, completing our top 10 starters.
He's got some work to do from there, but if he can find clean air and settle into a rhythm, he could surprise a few people.
Just outside the top 10, Jimmy Lindo, an AM-Class driver, starts in P11 in his Mazda.
For an AM driver, starting P11 is a solid effort. The goal for him will be consistency and bringing the car home in one piece, maybe even picking up a few spots.
Nigel Walters, another UK AM-Class driver, will be starting in position 13, also in a Mazda.
Joel Lemerick, the AM-Class driver from the Netherlands, starts 14th in the Mazda MX5 Cup. He'll be looking to gain experience here.
Tim Weller, another UK AM-Class driver, rounds out our current grid in 15th in the Mazda MX5 Cup.
Neil Constable Barry from the UK starts 16th in his Mazda, an AM-Class competitor. There's a lot of potential in the AM ranks today.
Phil Bodkin, England, an AM-Class driver, will start from 17th position in his Mazda.
He's got a long race ahead of him, but the midfield battles are often the most intense. He just needs to keep his head down.
Ross Elliott from the United Kingdom, another AM-Class driver, starts in P18 today in his Mazda.
From that far back, you have to be extra cautious into the first corner. Avoiding incidents will be his main focus at the start.
The lights are out and we are underway at Laguna Seca. A fantastic start, the pack surges towards turn 1. Aaron Short, who started on pole, holds his lead through turn 1 and into the run up the hill, a clean start for the leader.
Maintaining the lead into turn 1 is half the battle here. He's done it perfectly, no drama for him so far.
Further back, Tim Weller holds his 15th position, navigating the midfield jostle on this opening lap.
In the thick of it there. You're just trying to find some space and not lose too many spots at the start. That's a good job.
Niall Gagan, who started in 6th, maintains that position as they sweep through the corkscrew for the first time. Niall Gagan continues to hold that 6th spot firmly, a steady start for him in the early stages.
Holding your qualifying position in the first lap is crucial. He's not losing ground, which is key to setting up his race.
We're now with Sten Wallstrom in 17th, and he's right on the tail of Tim Weller, who has slipped back to 16th. The gap is a mere 0.2 seconds.
Tim Weller has lost a position there, making it a very real fight for him now. That kind of pressure makes you push harder, but it also increases the chance of a mistake.
Now focusing on Joel Lemrick in P11 on lap 1, with Maximilian Turbin just 0.3 seconds behind in 12th. Lemrick's first lap clocks in at 154.249.
He's under immediate pressure from Turbin. That 154 is a solid opening lap, but he'll need to find more pace to pull away, especially with a full 9 minutes plus a lap still to run.
We're now with Niall Gagan, who has dropped a position to 7th, just 0.1 seconds behind Jimmy Lindo in 6th. Gagan's first lap was a 151.909.
That's a really tight gap for 6th place. That 151 is a decent opening lap, but he'll be feeling the pressure from behind and needs to find a way past Lindo to regain that position.
And Gagan has made the move. He's regained P6, passing Jimmy Lindo, who now trails by 0.3 seconds.
That's an excellent recovery. Making a pass early on in a race like this shows confidence. Now he needs to build on that gap and try to pull away from Lindo.
Now with James Pinkerton in 7th, just 0.2 seconds off Niall Gagan in 6th. Pinkerton's opening lap was a 153.102.
Pinkerton is right there. That 0.2 second gap is nothing. He's got Gagan in his sights and is certainly looking to make a move very soon. You can almost taste the battle.
Joel Lemrick has dropped a spot to 12th on lap 2, now trailing Maximilian Turbin in 11th by only 0.2 seconds. His best lap so far is a 140.881. Lemrick has moved up a spot again to 11th, now chasing Maximilian Turbin, who is 0.3 seconds ahead in P10.
He's really fighting for those positions. That's a good move for him. He's showing some real determination in the midfield, looking to break into the top 10.
Now with Dominic Fauvargue in 9th, just 0.2 seconds off Thomas Kruger Dorado in 8th. Fauvargue's best lap is a 140.262. Dominic Fauvargue remains in 9th, still chasing Thomas Kruger Dorado in 8th, but that gap has just stretched slightly to 0.3 seconds.
Fauvargue is still in the hunt, but he needs to close that gap back down quickly. Every 10th counts when you're fighting for those top 10 positions.
Daniel Kosic in 13th on lap 2, just 0.3 seconds behind Neil Constable-Berry in 12th. Kosic's best lap is a very impressive 139.165. Daniel Kosic has closed right up on Neil Constable-Berry. The gap for 12th is now down to just 0.1 seconds. He's looking for a way past. Now with Maximilian Turbin in P10 on lap 3, now 0.4 seconds ahead of Joel Lemrick in 11th. Turbin's best lap is a 139.814.
He's done well to stretch that gap slightly. That 1 minute 39 seconds and 8 milliseconds is a good lap, showing he's found some rhythm. It gives him a bit of breathing room from Lemrick.
Neil Constable-Berry is now in 13th, still chasing Daniel Kosic in 12th, with a 0.3 second gap. Constable-Berry's best lap stands at 139.939.
Constable Barry is still holding that 13th spot, matching Koshic's pace ahead. He's not losing ground, which suggests he's managing his tires well in this tight battle.
Ross Elliott is now in P15 on lap 3, just 0.2 seconds behind Nigel Walters in 14th. Elliott's best lap is a 1:39.859.
He's really pushing hard there. That 0.2 second gap is nothing on this track, especially if he gets a good run out of the corkscrew. He'll be looking for an opportunity.
Ross Elliott remains in 15th, but the gap to Nigel Walters in 14th has increased to 0.4 seconds, a little breathing room for Walters.
He needs to dig deep and find that pace again. Losing touch like that can break your momentum, and on a technical track like this, you want to be right on the tail of the car in front.
Thomas Kruger Dorado is now in P8 on lap 4, just 0.3 seconds behind Jimmy Lindo in 7th. Dorado has just posted his best lap, a 1:38.917.
That's a very quick lap from Dorado. He's definitely found some pace there. Closing that gap to Lindo to 0.3 means he's firmly in the fight for 7th. Expect him to put the pressure on.
Now with Jimmy Lindo in P7, who has Thomas Kruger Dorado just 0.2 seconds behind in 8th. Lindo's best lap is a 1:38.910.
This is going to be a fascinating battle. Both drivers are running very similar lap times, virtually identical. It will come down to who can hold their nerve and exploit any small mistake from the other.
Sten Wallstrom is in 19th, in the challenging turn 6 section, just 0.2 seconds behind Tim Weller. Wallstrom's last lap was a 1:47.163, a bit off his best.
Wallstrom has lost a significant amount of ground to Weller. That 0.7 second gap is going to be tough to close down quickly. He needs to find some consistency here.
Thomas Kruger Dorado in P8, now just 0.1 seconds behind Jimmy Lindo in P7 on lap 5. The pressure is immense.
This is exactly what you want to see. Dorado is right on Lindo's gearbox, looking for any opening. That's a perfect setup for a pass.
Dorado has made the move. He's through on Lindo and now sits in P7, though Lindo has also moved up to P6, just 0.2 seconds ahead.
Well, that's a clever play by both of them. Dorado got the pass, but Lindo has managed to gain another spot himself. It just shows how close the racing is. One move can open up another opportunity.
Now with Jimmy Lindo in P6 on lap 5, right on the tail of James Pinkerton in 5th, just a tenth of a second separating them. Jimmy Lindo has dropped back to 7th position, with James Pinkerton now ahead in 6th. That gap has widened slightly to 0.2 seconds.
He's lost that position to Pinkerton then. He needs to regroup and attack again. The midfield is really heating up, no one is giving an inch out there.
Dominic Fauvargue is in P8 on lap 5, with Jimmy Lindo now just 0.2 seconds behind in 9th. Fauvargue's best lap is a 1:38.915.
He's defending that 8th position well. That 1:38 lap time shows he's got good pace, but Lindo behind him is incredibly close. He'll need to hit his marks perfectly.
Fauvargue has moved up a spot to 7th. He's ahead of Lindo now, who has dropped to 9th, with a 0.3 second buffer.
He's made a great move there, consolidating his position and gaining ground. This is where experience tells, knowing when to push and when to manage the gap.
Tim Weller is in 19th on lap 5, now just 0.1 seconds behind Sten Wallstrom in 18th. Weller's best lap is a 1:39.349.
He's right there, looking to make a move. That 1:39 lap is strong, and if he can carry that momentum, he could easily snatch that position from Wallstrom.
Thomas Kruger Dorado is now in P6 on lap 6, 0.3 seconds behind James Pinkerton in 5th. Dorado's last lap was a 1:40.120.
Dorado has closed that gap to Pinkerton down to 0.2 seconds. He's really working hard to make up ground here. The focus is intense.
Tim Weller has gained a spot to 18th on lap 6, now 0.2 seconds behind Neil Constable Berry in 17th. Weller's best lap is a 1:39.185. Weller has lost ground to Constable Berry. The gap has grown to 0.6 seconds now. He needs to find some pace.
He had the momentum earlier, but something has changed. That's a big gap to open up in just a short amount of time. He'll need to refocus quickly to catch back up.
Joel Lemrick is in P11 on lap 6, now 0.3 seconds ahead of Niall Gagan in 12th. Lemrick's best lap is a 1:38.942.
He's done well to keep Gagan at arm's length. That 1:38 lap is solid, showing he's consistent and managing the gap well for now.
Tim Weller, still in 18th on lap 7, has closed the gap to Neil Constable Berry in 17th down to a mere 0.1 seconds. A brilliant recovery.
Incredible, he's absolutely hooked up there. That's a huge effort to close down that 0.6 second deficit. He's got the speed, now he just needs the opportunity for the pass.
And Weller has done it. He's through on Constable Berry and up to 17th, with Constable Berry just 0.2 seconds ahead in 16th.
That's a fantastic move. He had the pace, he executed the pass, and now he's ahead. This is what makes racing so exciting, that constant fight for every position.
Thomas Kruger Dorado holds P6 on lap 7, 0.3 seconds behind James Pinkerton in 5th. Dorado's last lap was a 1:39.402. Jimmy Lindo is right on Dominic Fauvargue's tail in turn 11. Just 0.1 seconds separates Lindo in P8 from Fauvargue in P7. Lindo takes P7. He's made the move and now Fauvargue is right on his gearbox. The gap is 0.
Oh, that was a brilliant move, absolutely clinical. And now Fauvargue is looking to return the favor. This is side-by-side action into the final corners.
What a race we're witnessing. These midfield battles are absolutely captivating. Every position is being fought for tooth and nail.
This is where it gets tough. As a driver, you're constantly weighing risk versus reward, especially with these small gaps. One small mistake can cost you several positions here.
We've seen some great overtakes already. Is there a particular part of Laguna Seca that you find most challenging for passing?
For me, the run into the corkscrew is always tempting, but it takes huge commitment. I remember one race where I went a bit too deep, paid the price. Turn 2 and 5 offer better, safer opportunities.
It's interesting how some drivers are showing real consistency, while others are having to fight hard to regain lost ground.
Absolutely. Maintaining that focus and rhythm, lap after lap, is what separates the top contenders. The endurance of concentration is key in these shorter sprint races too.
Aaron Short remains in command, just 20 seconds from the checkered flag, with a comfortable 1.7 second lead over David Constable Berry. Aaron Short crosses the line. A dominant performance from pole position, he wins the race here at Laguna Seca.
He drove a faultless race from start to finish. Holding the lead and managing the gap like that takes real skill and composure. He earned that victory.
David Constable Berry crosses the line in second place, a strong result for the Pro-Am driver from England. Mac McFarquhar completes his race in third position, a solid podium finish after starting in fourth.
Moving up a spot to take the podium is a great achievement. He held his nerve through the battles and delivered when it mattered.
Chris Stokes finishes fourth, Thomas Kruger Dorado takes fifth, Dominic Fauvargue secures sixth, and Jimmy Lindo crosses the line in seventh.
Rounding out the top 10 are Joel Lemrick in 8th, Daniel Kosich 9th, and James Pinkerton in 10th, with Maximilian Turbin just outside in 11th.
Nigel Walters finishes P12, Jareth Hallam takes 13th, Ross Elliott in 14th, and Phil Bodkin completes his race in 15th.
Every single one of those drivers fought hard. Even down to 15th, the racing was close. They'll all take something from this race.
Tim Weller finishes 16th, just ahead of Neil Constable Berry in 17th position. Welcome back to Laguna Seca OSRW. The engines are screaming, and we are just moments away from the green flag.
An 8 miles per hour wind can certainly play havoc with the aero through the corkscrew. You have to be precise in those conditions.
And starting from a fantastic P2, it's Tim Weller from the UK in his Mazda.
P2 for an M-Class driver in a Mazda is impressive. That car demands a lot of finesse, especially around here.
Just behind him, starting from P3, we have Phil Bodkin from England, also an M-Class driver in the MX5 Cup.
Another AM in an MX5 Cup up front. That shows excellent car control and a real understanding of the track's flow to qualify so high.
Gareth Hallam, a Pro-Am driver from the UK, starts today from 5th position in his Mazda. As the engines roar to life, Nigel Walters prepares to take off from the 6th position on the starting grid. Nigel Walters, another M-Class driver from the UK, lines up in 6th position today, also in a Mazda.
6th for an AM in a Mazda, that's a strong qualifying showing, getting maximum performance from that platform.
And Maximilian Turbin, a Pro-Am driver from England, starts just behind him in 7th, also in a Mazda.
Turbin in 7th, as a Pro-Am, will be looking to pick off some of those AM drivers early on. The Mazda is a car you can really push here.
Daniel Kosic from Hungary, an M-Class driver, will be starting his race from 9th on the grid in his Mazda. Joel Lemerick from the Netherlands, another M-Class driver in a Mazda, rounds out the top 10 starters. Just outside the top 10, in 11th, we find Jimmy Lindo, an M-Class driver in a Mazda. Starting from P12, it's Dominic Fauvargue, a Pro-Am driver from the UK, in his Mazda.
Fauvargue in 12th as a Pro-Am. He's got some work to do, but that Mazda is capable of moving through the field if he's aggressive early.
Thomas Kruger Dorado, a Pro-Am driver from the UK, starts from lucky P13 today in his Mazda MX5 Cup. P14 sees Chris Stokes from England, another Pro-Am driver, preparing to battle in his Mazda.
Stokes in 14th, he's a Pro-Am and will certainly be looking for a strong start to make up positions quickly in that Mazda.
Mac McFarquhar, a Pro-Class driver from the UK, finds himself starting from 15th position today.
P15 for a pro driver, that's a tough starting spot. He'll have to be very clean and decisive to make progress through the field without incident.
David Constable Barry from England, a Pro-Am driver, is starting from position 16 in his Mazda. Aaron Short, a Pro-Am driver in a Mazda MX5 Cup, is starting today's race from 17th on the grid. Sten Wallstrom, an M-Class driver in a Mazda, will be starting this race from P18. And the lights are out. We are green at Laguna Seca OSRW. The race is officially underway. Tim Weller holds his starting position, maintaining P2 through the opening corners.
Holding P2 on the first lap is crucial. It shows he's got a good run and isn't getting caught up in the early chaos.
What a start for David Constable Barry. He's moved up an incredible 5 positions, now in P11. David Constable Barry making big moves on lap 1, up 5 places already to P11.
5 positions on the first lap is an incredible gain. That takes aggressive but precise driving to weave through the pack without contact.
James Pinkerton has carved his way forward, up 4 spots into P4 already on this opening lap. James Pinkerton on the charge, up 4 places and into P4, a fantastic start.
Pinkerton is showing real intent. Gaining 4 positions early means he's found gaps and committed to them. That's smart first lap driving.
Joel Lemerick is flying, up from P10 at the start to P5, and he's got Mac McFarquhar right on his tail, just 2 tenths behind. What an incredible start we've had here at Laguna Seca. The field has completely shuffled already.
Those opening laps are always chaotic. You're trying to gain positions without taking too many risks, especially on a track with so many elevation changes.
We've seen some fantastic early gains, particularly from Constable Barry and Pinkerton, really maximizing the green flag.
They clearly had a strong plan for the first few corners, knowing precisely where to be aggressive and where to hold back in that initial scrum.
Then you have Lemrick, who's powered his way into the top 5 from P10, now under immense pressure from McFarquhar.
That's where trackcraft really shines, managing your line, watching the mirrors, and still finding pace. I remember having to defend a similar position at Oulton Park. It's a mental game as much as a physical one.
The wind must be playing its part too, affecting aero and braking points around this circuit.
Definitely, an 8 miles per hour wind can make the car feel very different through the fast corners, especially on the entry to the corkscrew. It keeps you on your toes.
It's creating some truly compelling battles all the way through the pack, not just at the front.
The Mazdas are so evenly matched, which forces drivers to really exploit every inch of the track to gain an advantage, which is exactly what we're seeing.
Mac McFarquhar in P5 is absolutely glued to the back of James Pinkerton, just a tenth of a second separating them, as he posted a 150.952 last time around. And Mac McFarquhar has gained a spot, now up to P4, right on the tail of James Pinkerton in P3, a monumental battle with 0 seconds between them. David Constable Barry is now in P9 on lap 2, just a tenth behind Thomas Kruger Dorado, and he's just posted his best lap of the race, a 139.765.
Constable Barry is pushing hard. That 139.765 lap shows he's found a rhythm and is absolutely hunting down Dorado for P8. That's how you make up ground.
David Constable Barry has made the move. He's now into P8, and Dorado has dropped back to P11, a full second separating them.
That's a clinical overtake from Constable Barry, not just getting past but immediately building a gap. That's crucial for breaking the toe and maintaining momentum.
James Pinkerton is holding strong in P4 on lap 2, just 2 tenths ahead of Neil Constable Barry, having clocked his best lap so far, a 140.280. Pinkerton has stretched his lead over Neil Constable Barry, now up to 7 tenths, consolidating the P4 position. David Constable Barry is right on Phil Bodkin's bumper in the rainy curve, just 2 tenths separating them for P7, Constable Barry still matching his best lap from earlier. Constable Barry is closing in even further on Botkin for P7, the gap now down to a mere tenth. Chris Stokes in P6 is absolutely flying, just a tenth behind Neil Constable Barry for P5, and he's just set his personal best, a 139.631.
That's an impressive lap time from Stokes. He's found a real sweet spot with the car, and that kind of pace is exactly what he needs to get past Constable Barry.
Chris Stokes has made the move. He's up into P5 and has already pulled a 3/10 gap on Neil Constable Barry. Mac McFarquhar, now in P8, is on the hunt for P7, just 2 tenths behind Thomas Kruger Dorado, and he's just posted an incredible best lap of 138.999.
A sub 139 lap from McFarquhar is seriously quick. He's found some incredible pace and will be all over Dorado now. That's pro-class driving right there.
Phil Bodkin is under pressure in P12, with Nigel Walters just a tenth ahead, Bodkin just posting a 141.205 on that last lap. Bodkin has dropped another position, now in P13, and Nigel Walters has opened up a 4/10 gap ahead of him in P11.
Losing positions like that often means a small mistake, or perhaps the tires are starting to go off. It's easy to push too hard early in these shorter races.
Jimmy Lindo is rocketing through the field, now up to P6 and just set his best lap of the race, a blistering 138.612, with Daniel Kosic 2 tenths behind. Lindo is building a margin now. The gap to Kosic in P7 is up to 4 tenths, consolidating that P6. James Pinkerton in P4 is pushing hard through the Andretti hairpin, just 3 tenths off Chris Stokes for P3, his last lap a 141.331.
Pinkerton is maintaining pressure, but he'll need to find a quicker lap than his last if he wants to challenge Stokes. This section of the track often offers opportunities.
Stokes has just edged out a little more breathing room, the gap to Pinkerton now half a second. Daniel Kocic in P7 is closing on Dominic Fauvargue for P6, only 0.2 separates them. Kocic's best lap still a 138.978. Fauvargue has managed to extend his advantage over Kocic, now 0.7 clear in P6.
That's a good defensive drive from Fauvargue, pushing hard to break the toe and prevent Kocic from getting into a position to make a move.
Mac Farquhar is right on the tail of Daniel Kocic for P7, just 0.2 behind, but his last lap was a surprisingly slow 148.812.
That's a big drop in pace for Farquhar, nearly 10 seconds off his best, which suggests a moment or perhaps a loss of rhythm. He'll need to regain that pace quickly.
Dominic Fauvargue is closing in on Jimmy Lindo for P5, just 0.3 separating them, as Fauvargue posted a 142.448 on the last lap. Lindo has just managed to eke out a little more space, the gap to Fauvargue now up to 0.4. We're seeing these gaps ebb and flow constantly now. It's not easy for anyone to break away for good.
It's rarely a straight line race. Drivers are constantly adjusting, managing tire wear, and deciding when to push. Sometimes you lose a 1/10, sometimes you gain 2.
That 148 lap from Farquhar was a real head scratcher, almost 10 seconds slower than his best.
That kind of lap time usually indicates a significant moment, a big lock up, running wide, maybe even a small off-track excursion. Recovering from that costs serious momentum and time.
It's fascinating how quickly the dynamics can change. One moment you're pressuring, the next you're defending.
Absolutely, you have to be adaptable. I've had races where I felt completely in control, only for one tiny mistake to open the door for a rival and suddenly you're fighting tooth and nail again. That's the challenge here.
Mac Farquhar has recovered superbly, now holding P8 with Thomas Kruger Dorado just 0.2 behind, and he's just posted a blistering new best lap, a 138.912.
That's a fantastic rebound from Farquhar after that slower lap. He's found that pace again and now he's defending well with a very quick time in his pocket.
Farquhar has pulled clear of Dorado, who has dropped to P10, creating a 0.7 buffer. Thomas Kruger Dorado in P10 is hunting down Maximilian Turbin for P9, 0.4 separating them. Dorado's last lap a 140.229. The gap between Dorado and Turbin remains at 0.4, a real stalemate developing there for P9.
This kind of sustained pressure can sometimes force a mistake from the car ahead, or if Dorado can find just a little more pace, he might be able to make a move.
Tim Weller is absolutely flying in P2, hounding Jareth Hallam for the lead through turn 6, just 0.2 off, and Weller's best lap is a scorching 138.540. Hallam has just managed to open up a tiny bit of breathing room, the gap to Weller now 0.3 for the lead. Mac Farquhar in P8 is right on Daniel Kocic's tail for P7, just 0.3 seconds separating them.
Farquhar is definitely pushing, but he'll need to use that best lap pace of his to really put Kocic under pressure if he wants to make a pass.
Still 0.3 between Farquhar and Kocic, a very tight battle for P7 as we head into the final stages. Tim Weller continues to put immense pressure on Jareth Hallam for the lead, just 0.2 separating them. Weller's last lap a 139.988.
This is a classic cat and mouse, the lead driver trying to break the toe, the chasing driver looking for any weakness. 2/10 means an opportunity could present itself anywhere on the circuit.
Hallam has just found a burst of pace, opening the gap to Weller now to half a second at the front. McFarquhar is absolutely flying, right on Daniel Kosic's tail for P7, just 2/10 off, and he's just set a new best lap of 1:38.481.
That's an incredible lap from McFarquhar, he's found serious pace. Kosic will be feeling the heat now, that kind of speed is very difficult to defend against.
Jareth Hallam is now in P2 through the rainy curve, just 2/10 behind Tim Weller for the lead, having posted a 1:39.724 on his last lap. Weller has managed to stretch that lead slightly, now 3/10 separating him from Hallam. The lead battle between Weller and Hallam is just captivating, they are trading blows lap after lap.
It's all about consistency at this point. One small mistake from either driver could be enough to decide this race.
And McFarquhar, after that earlier slower lap, is now absolutely flying, setting personal bests and closing in on Kosic for P7.
That kind of recovery shows real mental strength. To bounce back with such a quick lap after what must have been an incident or a major correction, that's what defines a top driver.
Laguna Seca always delivers these close battles, it's such a driver's track.
It truly is. The undulations, the corkscrew, the limited overtaking opportunities outside of perfect execution, it demands precision, and that's what makes the racing so tight.
McFarquhar in P8 is 5/10 behind Daniel Kosic for P7, McFarquhar's last lap a 1:38.941. McFarquhar is closing that gap to Kosic ever so slightly, now down to 4/10 for P7.
He's chipping away at it. That consistent pressure will eventually pay off if Kosic makes even the smallest error.
Tim Weller is holding firm in the lead, just 20 seconds from the checkered flag, with Jareth Hallam still 4/10 behind. Tim Weller crosses the line. What an incredible drive from P2, he takes the checkered flag in the win.
A perfectly executed race from Weller, managing the pressure from Hallam the entire time, that's how you convert a strong qualifying into a victory.
And Jareth Hallam crosses the line for a very strong second place, an excellent drive from his P5 starting spot.
To start 5th and finish 2nd in such a competitive field, that's a testament to his racecraft and ability to maintain pace under pressure.
Chris Stokes takes the final podium spot, a fantastic P3 after starting all the way back in P14. James Pinkerton takes 4th, Dominic Fauvargue secures 5th, Jimmy Lindo finishes 6th, and Daniel Kosic rounds out the top 7.
Those are all really strong finishes, especially considering the intense battles we saw throughout the entire race. Consistency paid off for every one of them.
McFarquhar crosses in 8th, Thomas Kruger Dorado takes 9th, David Constable Barry finishes 10th, and Nigel Walters comes home in 11th.
McFarquhar recovering well for 8th after that moment, and Constable Barry's early charge secured him a solid top 10 finish. Good battles all the way through.
Phil Bodkin finishes 12th, Ross Elliott in 13th, and Neil Constable Barry takes 14th position.
Every single one of these drivers fought hard, some great individual performances today, especially in the midfield battles.
Sten Wallstrom crosses the line to secure 15th position.
He pushed through to the end, every position matters in these competitive races.
Aaron Short finishes his race in 16th position.